Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know that other amazing panels are being held at the same time as ours, so we are honored that you chose to be with us today and share your afternoon. So what are we going to talk today? We're going to talk about AI, Wikipedia, and the future of knowledge. We're going to talk about how these two can nurture transparency, collaboration, and accountability. So I have here with me Marios, as we already know, he's the president of the Wikimedia user group in Cyprus. Greece, yes, and we are at the Cyprus Forum. Thank you, Marios. And for the sake of transparency, I would like to share that this is not our first encounter with Marios. We know each other for quite some time. Actually, we met back in 2018 when Marios was invited by the Embassy of Sweden to work on a WikiGap initiative. That means adding, to put it simple, adding more women on Wikipedia. And of course, creating a bigger number of women editors. So I participate there.
Δημοσιογράφοι. Με κάποιους συμφωνείς, με κάποιους...
Wikipedia and Wikimedia. So that got us into talking a bit more, and it led us today that we have also a Wikimedia user group in Cyprus. That's why the confusion in the beginning, because usually when I talk about Cyprus. Maria, thank you so much. So,
thank you very much.
I would like to start by asking you, Wikimedia and Wikipedia, actually, it's a source of knowledge for billions, if I may say, around the world. Can you share a bit what are the basic principles that Wikipedia stands by?
Okay, let's start from the basic. That I think everybody knows that Wikipedia is a site, it's an encyclopedia, everybody can edit. This is the motto of the Wikipedia. But I think the important is to understand why this is important for this Cyprus Forum here, and I think it's a very appropriate subject to discuss, because Wikipedia, it's not only about a site that it's created by people and etc. The more important is that it's an open collaborative project that is more than 100,000 people around the planet participate. In Wikipedia in general, it consists of more than 200 different languages. So it's a global project that affects the entire internet community and also reflects the changes that happen in our society. From this point of view, Wikipedia is a very important project for the politicians, for example, for the social organizations to see, because it's a large example of hundreds of people participating in a common project and see how they form different rules on fixing a site that has it probably is the number one in the role of knowledge right now in the planet. From this point of view, Wikipedia starts with only 5 big principles. That it's about encyclopedia. The fifth rule is that there are no firm rules. There are no rules. So everything, all the other rules and all the roles that are assigned on Wikipedia are defined by the community itself. So it's a self-determined community that forms rules in its evolution. So if we talk about Wikipedia 20 years ago when it started, and we talk about Wikipedia now, we have made a huge route from one point to the other, and everything has been involved in making new rules in how we adopt new things like AI, as we are going to talk later, how we adopt different behaviors of editors, how we adopt different ideas and approaches from people all over the planet. And I think this is the first thing we have to keep in mind. Wikipedia, it's a community. When we speak about Wikipedia, we speak about communities. For example, in Cyprus, we speak about communities in Greece. And this is the big challenge here, because if we speak about a Wikipedia community in Cyprus, then we have to already open the political issue of the different communities happening on the island, of the different political issues happening on the island, and how these different communities as a whole now are they going to approach and present this kind of ideas or different articles or write things about the political situation on the island and express to the rest of the world.
Very interesting, and I like the way that you talked about communities, because for me I think it's very important that we go beyond just adding new information. It's about a group of people working and collaborating together, and having in mind of that collaborative model of Wikipedia. I think that is a very positive thing, but I'm sure that it creates a lot of obstacles. How does that collaborative, using the collaborative model in open source knowledge sources, how can you maintain accuracy?
Okay, this is a very interesting thing to understand, that Wikipedia, there's nobody that is more privileged than the other, let's say. Okay, all the extra roles on Wikipedia, like administrators, bureaucrats, the people that are responsible for deleting articles, for any other of these actions, are chosen by the community. The community is that decides who the people are trusted to do these actions. And when it comes to the part of the content, it's the community with no extra roles that assigns the roles on the community. But surprisingly, what we were expecting, of course, in this moment, that when we say that everybody can edit Wikipedia, we expect that some people will go and destroy everything about the information, and after, I don't know, one day, there will be nothing left. Surprisingly, the opposite is happening. There are more people who want to defend, for example, open knowledge. There are more people who will defend accurate information than the people who want to destroy it. And there are many independent researches made for big magazines like Nature, which is one of the most, I don't know, renowned scientific magazine, that Wikipedia is more accurate than almost all the other written encyclopedias that have been in the planet before, because now probably most of them are getting out of market because of the digital age. But it's important to see that in general, that about 90% of the information on Wikipedia, it's highly accurate. The average time to revert an obvious vandalism on Wikipedia, something like the capital of Cyprus is Paris, for example. This won't remain more than 3 seconds on Wikipedia because of the many people participating. So what we have to understand Wikipedia is it's like a crowdsourcing project that, but with the active participation of hundreds of thousands of people, we get an evolution of becoming better and better. In the last years, we have also librarians joining the project, more and more academics joining the project, and Wikipedia is becoming more accurate also on the field and more scientific. Because in the first level, like the first years of Wikipedia, of course, there were very, I don't know, elementary articles to write about. Like, I don't know, the first article of Wikipedia was about what is a dog, for example. But nowadays, there's an article, for example, for each battle on the World War I, for example. There's an article about, there are more than 100 different articles about the life of Mozart. There are very specific articles for every specific area of the life of a famous musician or a painter. So, from the society itself assigns roles, and it's becoming very, very accurate. When the difficult part, of course, it's when we come to some very extra, I don't know, very difficult scientific subjects. And, of course, the big problem is the politics. When we come to politics, there's a different problem here, and this comes with the problem with transparency, is because we have a lot of state intervention, or from people who have really benefit of controlling the information.
I really want you to go a bit deeper in this. I think people will find it very interesting how politics can be involved in Wikipedia and change, you know, whatever is being presented at.
Okay, I think you have to realize Wikipedia as a battlefield. It's a place that people from different countries, from different social background, from different education level, are coming together and try to write something in common, or trying to push each other in order to find a middle ground at some point. Because Wikipedia is not about majority, as we say, it's about consensus. So people write, and at some point they reach a consensus of how to present the information. And this is also interesting. We have to realize this as a dynamic process. So, for example, if you have an active ongoing war somewhere on the planet, then
which we have. many times. And
right now we have a big problem, for example, with the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, and this affects Wikipedia in general. For example, the articles written in the Russian Wikipedia are completely different in the way they're presented in the Ukrainian Wikipedia. And us also in Greece, we had big issues with, for example, with the neighbor countries. One of the most conflicted articles in English Wikipedia was about the countries who recognize the Northern Macedonia with its constitutional name, i.e. Republic of Macedonia. For many years, there were state interventions from different countries, from secret services, from different organizations, NGOs, that were pushing their agenda. And this is the interesting thing. That's why we assign extra roles on Wikipedia, and we trust the people to self-control the information. So as soon as you back up your information with references, then we started creating new rules, like what is called NPOV, neutral point of view. And we started saying that, okay, Wikipedia has to present everything from neutral point of view. We added extra roles, like you are not allowed to write about something you have direct interest on it. So it's called COI, conflict of interest. So, for example, the US state is not allowed to write an article about the US state, for example. And of course, there's also a very thin line of where the conflict of interest stops, but it's also a very interesting thing. There's also always a part of debate. This is the interesting thing with Wikipedia. So if you have to stop realizing Wikipedia as a static site that some people are responsible for it and they are maintaining a site. It's an active, ongoing situation. It's a real live community that may change also views. The articles that were, I don't know, 10 years ago, they may change now because, for example, of the different views, for example, about the role of women, as you said in the beginning. We had to go back and change even the way the articles were written about women in the past. We had many articles in the past about women, and they were starting like, she is a very famous, etc., I don't know, physicist, and mother of 2 children. And they were emphasizing more in the role of the family for the women instead of the men, for example, in contrast to the men. So there are many different things that they can be done on Wikipedia, and they change from time to time.
So it's adapting according to the times, and this is what I found really fascinating when we met, because exactly a lot of people even now ask me, why can I just add an article on Wikipedia? Why is it so hard? But exactly, it's so hard because of these ways to protect it from vandalism. I know many people don't understand, but we are using this term in Wikipedia. We call it vandalism when someone just...
Vandalism or misinformation. We also have a problem of misinformation on Wikipedia, of course. The same way we have everywhere in the aspects of life. The social media, the mass media, everywhere there's misinformation. Wikipedia is also a place that it's easy to infiltrate and add misinformation. But the difference is that it's a community that took measures at some point to remove misinformation.
Mm-hmm. It's actually a community. Usually, communities mirror society, right? So they work in the same way. But this is what's very important, that they really take it very seriously, and they took those measures and put those rules in ground. And I know that they're very adamant in those rules being respected. Now, we know that we live, our world is digitized every day more and more, okay? And we come to an era of talking more about AI. AI, of course, has been around us for much longer than we know it as ChatGPT, because it just invaded our lives, but it's been around for a long period of time. How do you think, if you think that there's going to be a collaborative model between Wikipedia and AI?
Okay, this is also interesting. Wikipedia is not new to this, because Wikipedia is not only edited by human, but also by bots. So some information was automatically inserted by computers for small programs that they do some hideous work that can be done by people for many reasons. For example, English Wikipedia has a single article for every asteroid in the planet, in the universe. means tens of thousands of asteroids, and they have different names and they were discovered in different areas. Wikipedia has an article for example, each village in many languages. And what we did there, we implemented computers, what we call bots, small programs, to take data like population, establishment, and write an article about every single village in Cyprus. And so Wikipedia has been using bots already in the past. The new thing with AI is, for the first time, probably we can also produce human-like generated text. And this is, has many dangers, of course. This is one part. So one part is that it makes easier the life for many small language Wikipedias, because also this is important. One of the missions of Wikipedia, for example, is to save some small languages that the population of people speaking the language is probably less than 200. I have seen this kind of examples. And if you make AI bots to write the article for this and translate for English to, I don't know, to something else, you can even save languages and also create articles in different places. Of course, the big problem we have with ChatGPT, and I have seen that the Wikipedia and the Wikimedia Foundation right now also tries to implement something similar, is what we call hallucinations. Probably you know about ChatGPT hallucinations. Because of the information it gathers from different sites, it may create information that it's easily found to be contradicting itself. Like Anna has 2 children and don't know, and then she died with no children at the end in the same sentence. That's what we call hallucinations, because they are human-like form of language, but it's all obviously contradicting itself. In all the models I have seen on Wikipedia, they are simulating the same problem. And especially Wikipedia is very sensitive to this, because Wikipedia takes from third-party sources and comes back. So these are really dangerous. The way we solve these problems is, again, with people testing the Wikipedia, what we call them new page patrollers or page patrollers. There are people who check each article separately, humanly. We have tens of hundreds of editors right now that they spend their hundreds of hours of their life checking each article independently. So Wikipedia, it's a very nice mixture model that combines the power of hundreds of people with new technology like AI. And this is very strong.
And you touched upon some concerns that, of course, arise through the use of AI in Wikipedia. I
have seen another problem. I have seen, for example, AI-generated photos. This is a big problem. I saw in one conference, I was in Tirana 1 month ago, and someone took a photo of the square of Tirana, and then generated AI with a zoom-out tool, the entire city, but it was fake. It was very similar to the real one, but it was fake. And this is very difficult to check.
You mean, and it made it on Meta, on Wikipedia without...
And then upload the photo on Meta,
okay,
and claiming
right.
there was a photo they took, we don't know, with a
because
drone.
that is something that we already know, or tools that recognize images and they recognize them as something different. I remember a very strong negative example of a black man that was identified as a gorilla. That happened by Google Pics or something. So these are things that scientists already have in mind, that these are major problems, and that takes me back to ethical concerns. So I want you to talk a bit by using AI or incorporating in the Wikipedia collaborative model, what are the ethical concerns?
First of all, we have to realize, I think when I was on the plane and I was coming, there's an article on there by Daskalakis, and he was talking about AI, and he said that we are very far away from a generalized AI model right now. So if you have any fear that, AI is going to take over the planet in the next 2 years, it's not going to happen. That's why also we have this problem with pictures. The AI at the moment cannot even distinguish the pictures in the right way. So we are very far away from depicting a generalized model that's going to, at some point, realize itself. Still, of course, we have one of the things we have to do, we have to make an ethical frame to work in, because right now it's very easily, especially on Wikipedia, to infiltrate information. We had problems in the past with people genuinely adding false information. There was a guy who was adding false biographies from a motorcycle, from a bicyclist. And he wrote more than 300 fake biographies, one linked with each other, and they were all fake. Imagine now doing this with AI. You can generate articles within seconds. So this is where it comes to transparency thing. I think we should have a very good control of who edits Wikipedia and their motives, for example. And that's why some Wikipedias already have, in the past, have taken measures like banning anonymous IPs uploading information. And for example, German Wikipedia has what we call flagged revisions. This means whatever you edit, it's not directly coming visible, in contrary to the Greek Wikipedia and the English Wikipedia. There should be some human check before we upload some information. And I think the thing we have to work at the moment is exactly taking measures on countermeasures in the development of AI, because at some point it's going to be very strong in tricking.
Yeah, very interesting. I want, because I know that we don't have a lot of time, and I would like to leave a few minutes if there are any questions, but I want us to touch also the subject of accessibility, because that's really important. Unfortunately, we don't live in an equitable world, so a lot of people and billions around the world don't have access to information because they don't have access to technology. And what are the efforts that are being done from the Wikimedia Foundation and the Wikipedia Foundation to overcome this disparity, let's say?
Yeah, okay, that's a very good question too. But as you said in the beginning, we met in a project that was about gender gap, for example, here in Cyprus. I think Wikimedia Foundation is giving extra care on working with people from different social backgrounds, from different educational models, academic background, different countries. As I said, one of the missions, for example, is we're not writing articles only on English Wikipedia, for example. We try to have all the alive languages up to date. So there's been too much effort, it's become effort to have more than 300 different active languages right now, articles in every language. There are many meetings all over the planet about gender gap, about removing racist content. All the meetings now are not only in the Central Europe as they used to be. We start also making rules about how we make the different summits, and they are moving from place to place. So everybody is represented, everybody has the opportunity to participate. In the past, there were some very good projects like Wikipedia Zero that we gave access to Africa on free on Wikipedia. There were some problems from that, and the project stopped. And the project was, in fact, software piracy. They were using this open access to upload information, to upload pirated content on Wikimedia Commons, for example. And we had to stop the project, but it was a very good attempt. And there was a state agreement where, memorandums of understanding between Wikipedia and Foundation and countries. And Wikipedia is investing a lot on this, also in the level of employees, also in the level of representation. And now we have made even rules of the people who participate, so everybody is presented equally.
Thank you, Marios. My last question is, how do you foresee the future of open source knowledge platforms?
I think also with the AI, I think this is going to be a good thing at the end. I'm very confident, I'm a positivist. And I also am going to take something from Daskalakis there, that he said that we have to we can use technology to beat technology, for example. We should not be afraid of AI. I think if people use tools, they can be stronger than anything. And I think in the past, because I've seen this in the past, like in the beginning, people were really aware if we are going to use bots and automated tools on Wikipedia, and they were thinking that everybody should type by themselves. Nowadays, bots are the norm on Wikipedia because of big data, and we having to control, 6 million articles on English Wikipedia and more than 50 million articles all over the planet. We are destined, we are doomed, to use tools. AI is going to be something useful because we have many languages that have like less than 500 articles. If we want to the gap from 500 to 6 million, we have to use tools like AI. But I'm very confident of that.
Yeah, we're not luddites. That's why we're sitting here today and having this conversation. And we consider everything as a tool, right? It comes up to us in the end of how we're going to use it. So I'm going to use the last, if I have 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and maybe we're going to get for questions. Yes.
So thank you for these facts. They were really good. So there are many institutions, for example, high schools, universities, that do not allow their students to collect and present informations from Wikipedia to their work. So do you believe that the reason behind this policy is that the fact that everyone can upload information in Wikipedia?
No,
and do you agree with this policy? Thank you.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question because I get it every time we discuss this. And this was the difficult part, to convince the academia to have Wikipedia as a tool there. So that's why we made this one lib, one ref campaign some years ago, which is called One Librarian to Add One Reference on Wikipedia. So to encourage more quality content on Wikipedia. But you have to see Wikipedia as not, in my opinion, you should not be using any encyclopedia as a source. Wikipedia is a encyclopedia, so you have to use Wikipedia to find the original sources. And this is how you make critical thinking also in a better way. You should not be trusting any site, for example. When you read an article, ask the references, because the big problem we have with misinformation in our life today is because we believe in articles that they are unreferenced in general.
2 questions, and then we'll go to
Yes, thank you. At the previous panel discussed media and democracy, and there was a discussion about professional journalists versus non-professional journalists, similar to the discussion about the authoritativeness of Wikipedia versus other encyclopedias. Wikipedia also has Wikinews, which would then be a competitor for other journalism. How would you compare the reliability of Wikinews, which is made by amateurs, I imagine, but vetted in such a way? Is it better? Is it more authoritative than other news?
That's a very good
and
question.
I have a second question.
First of all, I have to admit Wikinews failed. So let's start from that. Because of this, what you said before, we abandoned the Wikinews project. But I don't think the big problem was about the amateurs working on it. I think this is the problem with the small communities. Wikinews was a small community of people. When I tried to edit there, the same problem we face, for example, in Greek Wikipedia, because we have like 30 active editors, and in small communities, it's easier to have toxic communities or people who are not easily allowing more people to come in the game. Wikimedia Foundation now takes some measures on that, because I think you win when you develop and when you spread a site to more people. That's why English Wikipedia is successful, because there are hundreds of people participating. They are so strong, they don't need any bots, they don't need any IA. There are so many people participating that they overcome any different problem. In Wikinews, we didn't have enough active editors. This was one of the biggest problems. And of course, the second problem is nowadays, social media, or social like Facebook or Instagram, they are faster than Wikinews. One of the things is that the information is moving faster on Facebook on this level than Wikinews.
If I may add, before your take your second question, this is why it's more important. It's so important to keep communities, and when we're talking about communities, is groups and teams more diversified. And because what you said is like the smaller the group, the more homogeneous it is the group, the more toxicity and one vision, of.
One of the things we changed. Okay, probably with all communities, online communities, you have to know the rule of 80-20. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. So you have some very small people, a small portion of people doing all the work. At some point, we said, okay, this is not the only thing that's important for us. It's not only to be active. You have not to be racist. You have to comply with others. You have to respect each other, because when you have a very active editor at some point, in Wikipedia, it's very easy to have ownership. To take my pill. On Wikipedia, you have the phenomenon of having people having ownership on articles, and in Wikinews it goes even more. So a person was presenting a new something information, and they were not allowing others to edit it. So we fixed that, and we now that's why we give much weight also on respecting each other. That we are building a community.
The second question, actually tying in with that, my former office at the U.S. Department of State has something called Diplopedia based on that. But the idea is to share knowledge, to get human beings to share what they know about things. Will that mission, I think that's a mission of Wikipedia as well, and good for public participation and democracy, is that mission getting lost if AI starts creating news articles and bots are doing the editing, that you don't have humans contributing their knowledge anymore?
Yeah, okay. I had this, but okay. This I have thought about it, but at some point on Wikipedia, when we reached 3 million articles, we said, okay, we are done, we finished, because we wrote everything, and now we are already on 6.5 million articles. This means the human knowledge is unlimited. It's not that easy to say that, okay, we finished because, okay, now bots will be writing everything for us. Because people discover new things to write about. And this is the important thing. Okay, as I said, in the beginning we had an article about Mozart. I said, okay, we have an article about Mozart. Now we have hundreds of, 100 articles about Mozart. We have the childhood of Mozart, I don't know, all the plays of Mozart. So human knowledge is expanding, and not everything is online. This also, you have to remember this. Sometimes we have the belief that everything is online. This year, I work in a public library, and I discovered we have hundreds or maybe thousands of books that are not online. All this information is not online. So AI still has no access to this information.
We have one last question, I think. Yeah.
We all know that there is entities, agencies that they write for you a Wikipedia article, if you want to do that.
That's a question or a statement?
No, it's a statement with the question of...
Okay.
What was the statement again?
We all know that there is companies that you hire them to write for you. For example, if I want to have a personal page, you hire them and they write. How do you monitor that? Okay. If you can. And my other thing is, a lot of your articles of Wikimedia, they have references as news outlets because it's considered that will be valid, etc. But now with fake news, we know that even Fox News can write fake news, or even how do you manage to control again that?
Okay, that's a thing we worked a lot in the previous years. On the first part, there was a student that made a very good research checking IPs, and we saw that there was state intervention, not only companies, secret services, the Vatican, embassies. They were writing articles, especially during the war in Iraq. There were hundreds of conflicted institutions writing articles on Wikipedia. And imagine the same thing, because I was writing an article about helicopter shutdowns in Iraq war. That was one of the things I was trying to find, and I was searching references. All the US references were saying that there was a mechanical failure on the plane. All the Iraqi references were saying, okay, there was a shutdown. And there was a big fight on that. About companies, we had seen that during special elections, also now local elections in Greece, also especially US Senate elections, we have an increase of articles about US Senate candidates. We know this is happening. One of the rules we have is called no paid editing. Officially, you are not allowed to have any paid editing on Wikipedia. That's why we try to remove all content that is seems like being advertisement or being, I don't know, a geography of a person and biography. In practice, of course, this is very difficult to have. But we try to establish rules to stop it. Like, we are not going to have biography for every person on the planet. We keep in mind that Wikipedia is an encyclopedia. And when a person is not famous for something, I don't know, outside, I don't know, for example, don't have article about for any footballer, because we have established rules. The rules now are different. In Greek Wikipedia, we have different rules from English Wikipedia. Because, for example, in Greek Wikipedia, we say that we allow an article for every footballer that has played in Super League.
Super League. Notability, basically, is defined different in each community.
It's defined by the community. A different article, the same article, can be notable in Greek Wikipedia, but not in English Wikipedia. So, and they have different rules. For example, if you try to write an article in the Israeli Wikipedia that is 5 lines long about me, for example, it's going to automatically be deleted because they don't allow any biographies less than 20 lines, for example, because they want to have more information. In English Wikipedia, there may be different rules, etc., etc. And so one of the criteria is notability, and there's a lot of this deletion processes happening every day in Wikipedia. We try to stop this. And we try to make things as much as neutral as possible. Okay, I know it's not easy because we know it's happening. And what was the second question about the...
I think the references on,
okay.
because there are a lot of newspapers.
This is also very sensitive. At some point, we decided that sites like BBC News are not reliable anymore. We started removing articles about BBC News because BBC News started posting articles about mermaids seen in Pacific. We had articles about flying dolphins in BBC News. And people were using this article to make articles about flying dolphins on English Wikipedia, and they were using BBC as reference. And at some point said, okay, not every source is reliable. Now in the Russian-Ukrainian war, let's make it even more difficult. All the sources coming from the Russian state agency, I don't remember the name, they have been removed from English Wikipedia. The English Wikipedia community.
Yeah, but these cases are okay. What about business articles? Because in business you have sponsor articles.
Yes, we try to remove as many as possible.
A lot of contribution articles from contributors, they actually are sponsored. The mentions of somebody.
The interesting thing is what you see online, it's only 1/100 of what is really trying to pass inside Wikipedia. I've been I passed maybe more than 3 months of my life being a new page patroller. I spent like 12 hours per day checking all the new articles coming because there's a news feed coming, and there were coming articles from every small company you can't even imagine. We delete as hell. So what you see, it's only a very small thing of what you see.
Yes, and I mean, there is a lot of monitoring, and a lot of people use Wikipedia only to retrieve information, but you can always go on the second tab, which is discussion, and then you're going to see that's the battlefield on why that information should be there or it shouldn't. So it's a constant conversation of the notability of a post.
At some point, for example, we deleted articles that have been there for 8 years or something because we changed the rules and we became more strict, for example, for companies, for example. And then we started reviewing all the articles about companies in English Wikipedia. I know because I was administrator in English Wikipedia for about 10 years before joining the Greek Wikipedia. And at some point, we started reviewing old articles and we started deleting, which is also a crazy thing. One also interesting thing is what we call the Pokemon effect. At some point, some users added an article for each Pokemon. There were like 10,000 Pokemons. And at some point we said, okay, this is not can be allowed. And we started merging. And now we have just one article with all the names. There are 10,000 names. So rules change, and sometimes the understanding we have about the things change. In the beginning, okay, we were more thirsty about articles and say, okay, we need companies because we need to have an article about a company, whatever the cost. And now we say, okay, we have to have a higher bar
on what is accessible. Thank you. Obviously, we understand that we could continue and talk for hours. This is very intriguing and interesting. I would have another question. I don't think that we don't.
those are some of the most credible sources that we can find, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That was
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you. All right. So.
It's becoming better and better.
Yes, because it's a process. And I would like to conclude by saying that of course, Cyprus Forum today, this year is about transparency. So I think in order to maintain transparency and collaboration, I think we need, first of all, participation. So for everything that you think that needs to be changed is by participating and not only using these tools, but being active participants in this. And I think that's the only way to look to go forward. Thank you so much, Marius, for
Thank
the
you very much.
conversation.